This one's gonna be a fun one. Hey guys, it's Melissa, your plantita abogada from Tasteful Nodes, coming to you today with a special episode, one that's near and dear to my heart, an episode about SCINDAPSUS Pictus Mayari and my experience registering it with the International Aroid Society. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and give a few disclaimers. There will not be any plant child support, just like in my other videos. If Mayari, tickles your pickle, floats your boat, makes you want it so badly, then find some sellers. That would be great. But please don't demand and expect me to furnish them. I haven't been propagating much lately, and what propagations I do have go quickly. So, KKB tayo. There won't be plant child support. Number 2. I'm not to be considered an expert in this video. For this video, I will share my personal experience with the International Aroid Society. However, I will also share information pulled directly from their site, just so that I can go ahead and clarify some points for you. So any information I provide here are either based on my experiences or directly from what's on the International Aroid Society cultivar registry site. Woo! And then number 3, I'm not the only person to have registered a plant with the International Aroid Society. So if you aren't comfortable with any information I give, feel free to go ahead and do a search and see what plants have been approved by them for naming, as well as contacting the cultivar registry committee. That way you could get direct answers to your questions if I don't answer them satisfactorily in this video, okay? And with that being said, I'd like to just jump straight in. So SCINDAPSUS Mayari is a SCINDAPSUS pictus that is variegated. It was discovered here in the Philippines. As far as the originator is concerned, we had, how do I say this? A few people came forward saying that they were the originator. And we had to contact a few of the older generation of plantitas and plantitos, so plant parents here in the Philippines, to find out what they knew about the plant and what they learned about the plant. And I decided that rather than put someone on the spot, because I really don't know the circumstances under which it was collected, whether it was legally collected with permit from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or if it wasn't. And I didn't know at the time who the originator was. I have a suspicion, I'm like 90% sure it's one person, but I didn't at the time I registered it. And at that point, I didn't want to put anyone in legal jeopardy. So I went ahead and made the conscious decision to not disclose the person who originally collected it from the wild. There were a few people who also cultivated it before me. This plant was actually collected 11 years ago, roughly 11 years ago. So from that point, there were a few people, 2 people in particular, who cultivated this. And rather than go ahead and give credit to 1, 2, or either of those people, I chose not to, because I didn't want either of them being attacked in case I got the information incorrect again. There's only so much information that you as a plant registerer. There's only so much information that you have when you register a plant. There's only so much research that you can do. And at that point, stories start to change, and I guess it's hard to decide who is telling what truths and who isn't. And I really didn't want to let people get attacked for not being able to confirm stories. So I chose to keep the originators undisclosed just for that purpose, just for that reason, to protect their sanity and their identities as well. With that being said, the name Mayari is special to the originator. She's a Diyosa, right? Mayari is a Diyosa, meaning she's a goddess in the Philippine mythology. She is the goddess of the moon, and she is quite formidable in her own way. She fought her brother Apolaki, who is the sun god, for rights to help rule the world. She didn't want to rule the world specifically on her own, but she did want shared rights. Now, the battle, I would assume, based on what I've read, were probably with wooden sticks rather than with metal weapons that we're clearly used to right now. But she did lose her eye during that battle, and her brother, Apolaki, in remorse, agreed to share ruling rights with her. So Apolaki, according to mythology, ruled the world during the daytime when the sun is bright and, you know, when it's hot and glaring. And Mayari, I guess someone approves, Mayari actually rules the world at night with a dimmer light than that of her brothers, but still just as beautiful, right? So, with that little intro, what happened was the cultivar registry was open. There was a website. I'd never noticed it before, and when I saw it, I said, oh, this looks easy enough. Maybe I can help get this plant a name that would reflect on the Filipino culture and the Filipino mythology. I mean, we deserve to have a plant that's named after everyone. It's something that all of us can relate to, right? We have a few plants, two plants off the top of my head that I could think of that are named after people, prominent people in Philippine society. The Alocasia corazon, Aquino, and the Alocasia Sarian, after Zach Sarian. Very nice guy also. But nothing that was collectively, something that could be collectively owned by all Filipinos. So I said, okay, cool. Let me see if I have anything that I could register, and let me find a way to give back, you know, to give my respects to the Filipino people. And that's what I did. The website for the International Aroid Society's Aroid Cultivar Registry is aroidcultivars.org. So when it comes to aroids, the International Aroid Society, they're the official registrar of the Araceae family. Araceae. Yeah, Araceae. Except for the Calla and the Xanthodecia. Good Lord, these names are killer. And they're long. Say that 5 times fast. So those are the two members of the Aroids family that the International Society does not cover registrar duties for. But everything else is open through the International Aroid Society. What you want to do, first of all, is to confirm that the plant meets the criteria of cultivars that they have. And let's see here, because it's quite technical in terms of the terminology that they used. Specifically, according to their website, a cultivar as a taxon is an assemblage of plants that, one, has been selected for a particular characteristic or combination of characteristics, and two, remains distinct, uniform, and stable in these characteristics when propagated by appropriate means. Appropriate means in this case, in the case of SCINDAPSUS mayari, would be through cloning or cuttings. Another mean would probably be through seeds. Excuse me, as far as cultivars are concerned. But I don't have seeds. I didn't have seeds for Mayari, so it's not something that I had to deal with. So step 1 was to confirm that the plant meets the criteria. SCINDAPSUS Mayari met all the criteria because it was different from the SCINDAPSUS pictus exotica, any of them, to be honest, in that it is the patterns of the leaves. There's bigger chunks of silver involved, but on top of that, there's variegation. Even on parts where it's almost all white, like areas like this, there's a matte area that's white, and then there's a raised area where the silver parts would be, that's also white. So you have like these different textures that are all white, and you can see that as well. And that's the differentiating characteristic that it has, aside from the stem, which is also variegated. So it has criterias that meet the cultivar requirement. Step 2 to register is to create an account on the aroidcultivars.org website and to log in. When you log in, this is what I would suggest. They bring you to a page, right, with all these blank areas, and the blank areas are namer, originator, base species or cultivar. In this case, it was SCINDAPSUS pictus. Cultivar origin is the origin story as far as you know. Like I said, there really isn't, it would be harder to explain as far back as the plant's origination, you know, how you got a hold of it, unless the plant mutated with you. But if it didn't, I mean, it would almost be impossible to do it, just because there are so many accounts to take into consideration, and just because there are so many unknown parties. So cultivar origin, as far as you know, would be helpful. It's all about providing as much information as possible. Name origin, that's where I explain what Mayari is. I still enjoy this write-up so much. Mayari is the Philippine goddess of the moon, the goddess of combat, revolution, equality, beauty, strength, moon, and night. She is still recognized to be the most beautiful, charming Philippine deity. While the etymology is unclear, the word Yari means complete or perfected, and it features prominently in her name, Mayari, diba? It's finished. The white variegations of this SCINDAPSUS are reminiscent of the moon's glow and phases. Just like Mayari, each pattern of variegation adds another layer of character to the plant, on its way to its own version of complete perfection. So while I'm waxing poetic, what I also mean is that each individual plant has different variegations, different levels of variegations, and they only add more character to the plant itself. So step 2 is to log in, right? And along with the name origin and cultivar origin, they also ask for things like growth habit and leaf blade, bloom and fruit, and distinguishing characteristics. Unless you are a botanist or a horticulturalist, I will not claim that I'm either one. I like to research a lot. I'm an attorney, so that's what we do. You know, we read a lot. And, but we're also perfectionists. So what I did was, and this is what I would suggest other people do, is to copy all of the fields that are needed for step 2, for the registration, put it in a Google Doc, put it in a Word document, right? And answer it on your own time. So make your account by all means, right? Log in and get that information, but don't submit it immediately. Because let's say you're filling it out and then you say, okay, submit, I'll just save this for now and I'll come back to it later. It doesn't work like that. Once you submit, it's submitted. So go ahead and save that on a Word document, answer it, look up the terms, the proper terms. Like I included pH, ground pH, because some of my Mayaris are growing straight in the ground. And I had to look this up based on information from the Department of Agriculture here for specific to our area here in Tarlac. So, you know, do your research, answer the best as you can, provide the best information you can. Take your time, you know, do it right the first time. Let's see here. So step 3 is to review the submit cultivar page, right? Gather all the information requested. Oh yeah, this part I didn't mention. So they also suggest that you gather the information, right? But they also say, including clear photographs to identify the plant accurately, and submit a request. Well, don't submit the request yet, because, you know, like I said, unless you're a horticulturalist or botanist, it might be a little difficult for us lay people. So copy, paste, gather the information, take your pictures, and then when everything is complete and to your satisfaction, by all means, submit that registration request. Here it says step 4 is that the Aroid cultivar registration team will review the request, and if accepted, change the status to accepted. Yes. If not accepted, reasons will be recorded in the nomenclatural notes field. So there it is. Okay. So I think at the beginning mine said under review as they were reviewing it, and I tell you, man, the stress. It felt like I was in school again, waiting to get called on, you know, for an oral exam or something. Man. Okay. Step 4 also notes that the International Aroid Society will reach out to the requester via email used to register in the site for step 2 if they require additional information. Now, it's important not to get overwhelmed. I mean, I make it sound like serious business and you got to do this and you got to do this, but you know what? At the end of the day, the IAS also wants to, give names to all of these unknown plants. You know, they want to see these unknown plants. So if it's something that is unknown, something that isn't already named, like, come on, we're not going to rename the Philodendron patriciae just because, you know, you can. Why do that? It already has a name. But, you know, go ahead and name your unknowns, name your no IDs. And if there's any information lacking or if they have any further questions, they will contact you, which they did for me. I was contacted by the International Aroid Society with further questions regarding the background of the plant, as far as, you know, is it an exotica? Is it a different kind of SCINDAPSUS? Stuff that I had to take further pictures of other specimen for, and I submitted a few pictures more than I submitted online. So it's fine. It's not a big problem. They're super friendly. They're quite professional and they're direct. They tell you what they need from you. So if you do get a message from them asking for further information, don't panic. We can do this, okay? Step 5, after acceptance, the team will mark it for formal publication in the next edition of Aroidiana. After publication, the status will be updated to established yes, and this will complete the formal registration of the cultivar. So, aside from getting naming rights, you also get to get your plant published. I mean, I don't see how it can't be something worth doing. You know, you get to name a plant either after something near or dear to you, or in some cases, I've seen some people register plants after themselves. So after yourself, I guess, is near and dear to you. But you also get published. You also get the international recognition of getting that name published so that people will recognize it. And it really is a great feeling to share with other people. I think that's everything that I have as far as notes are concerned. If you do have any questions it's probably best to go ahead and contact the aroidcultivars.org website. Like I said, as an attorney, I'm just an overachiever, and I went ahead and included citations in my application as well. It wasn't needed towards the end because I cited where the name Mayari came from and where I found all the information supporting that name. I also cited the Department of Agriculture's information regarding pH. So citations are nice. They're great if you're very thorough. And I personally think that it's a good idea for your personal records in case IAS ever contacts you and says, "Oh, what does this mean?" or "What does this mean?" At least you have that information available to you immediately, right? They don't necessarily need it, but it's CYB, cover your butt, right? I'm trying to think what else. I think that was it. Those were the only things that I did that I would, have to warn you guys not necessarily to panic about, but maybe to do if you have time. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that. And I would definitely recommend registering your no ID plants or your unicorns, the ones that people haven't seen. I was quite thrilled when someone started the registration for Apolaki, so the Aurea version of this plant. I mean, it made sense. And I was thrilled to pieces that they did that. And I'm hoping that it goes through soon so that we have Mayari and Apolaki, I guess, cemented in aroid history forever, right? Anyhow, enough about me, more about you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions or if you have any general thoughts, leave me a comment down below. If you enjoyed the content, if you found it helpful, give me a like and subscribe so you could get future notifications. I'll probably do a write-up on Facebook for this as well. So give me a follow on Facebook. I'm there as Tasteful Nodes. And you'll probably see Mayari on my Instagram page as well. I mean, I can't help it. She's so pretty. My Instagram is also Tasteful Nodes. Okay, sa uulitin. Thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep your nodes classy and tasteful. Okay, bye guys.